Do you know the saying that hope is not a book marketing strategy? Hi, I'm Caryl Westmore, author of the newly launched The Inner Path of Writing, Make Love, Not War, to the Writer Within. And in today's podcast episode, I'll be sharing with you 9 success tips that I learned in the recent book launch of The Inner Path of Writing. Before we launch into the video, I just want to say why it's a turning point for me. Because I've been a healer, a break-free fast coach, and helping people clear their traumas that are keeping them stuck in love and life and business. But what happened recently is that I was called or guided to help coaches and healers write their books and make a bigger impact on the world. So when I launched books like, or wrote books like You Can Break Free Fast EFT Tapping, which was my first book 10 years ago, I didn't know or have to do the book launch tools and approach that we have to do now in 2023. So please stick with me to the end as I share 9 success book launch tips that I learned in getting my book, The Inner Path of Writing, to a #1 bestseller on Amazon in 2 categories on the launch day, February the 21st. And it's selling well because of that, because of these strategies I'm going to share with you. But I also share with you 2 big mistakes I almost made that would have sunk me. Hello and welcome to the Write the Book Inside You podcast. Tips, tools, and interviews for coaches and healers like you who want to write a non-fiction book to boost your visibility, clients, and cash flow while making a difference. I'm your host, Caryl Westmore, a multi-published author and energy psychology tapping book coach. Now let's jump into today's episode. Tip number 1, do not fly solo. I hired a team called Books Go Social with Lawrence O'Brien, and that made all the difference. First of all, when I sent them my finished book, they said, Caryl, this book needs work. You can't put it out there without a good proofread. So I hired Jackie Cornès through them, who did a fantastic job, 3 passes on the book to make it squeaky clean for the reader, and to honor the amazing publishers and author experts that are in the book. So that was step number 1. They also suggested that instead of me trying to do my own formatting in vellum, which I had done a pass at, that I get them to professionally format it. And because this is a complex book, it's got 21 contributors and 3 parts, I thought that was a good idea. So I was so pleased to hand that off. The other way I got support, my other tip, was to hire a VA, a virtual assistant, to help me chop up some of the videos I'd made as bonuses, which are a summary of the book, to chop up those videos into 1-minute reels or YouTube shorts. And this made all the difference to give her that job. So that was a great load off my shoulders, although I do some video editing myself, to give it to Sunny, my VA, and to proceed to see my YouTube channel explode, because that was a very good idea, a very good tip that I would suggest you do as well. So that is a big tip that I will redo when I launch my next book. So on to tip number 3, which is get a professional book designed. I use 100 covers, and to be honest, my cover was ready, the cover I thought I was going to have, at least 6 months before I was ready to actually give the final cover direction. So I had a copy of my book, and that's a tip I think worth knowing. Wayne Dyer used to do that. He used to take a copy of the book he was working on and wrap it around another book and have it in front of him all the time. It's as if you're materializing the book before it's even been written. So I did that with my cover. It had a different title, which I'm going to tell you a mistake I almost made at the end. But thanks to 100 covers and an email thread of over 70 different instructions as time went on, I came up with the most beautiful cover, including the subtitle, Make Love, Not War, to the Writer Within, which was the final change I made. I removed the long, wordy subtitle, which was stuffed with keywords about writers, authors, and, stepping up to the plate in your inner game. And I changed it to an easy to say, memorable subtitle, title and subtitle, which I love. The next point is make sure, talking of easy to say, that your title is easy to say, not more than 5 words. I teach in my Write the Book Inside You program. But at the same time, your website that you're sending people to have a look at the book. And as I'll say in the next tip, to provide bonuses. So my tip is to look for a domain that's short and easy to say. I had the domain, theinnerpathofwriting.com, but at the same time, I took another domain called ipwbook.com. And that and the hashtags, which I chose, became standard way of repeatedly putting the idea of the book in front of people. And easy to say on a podcast, easy to write on my social memes. And that's where you can go now and look at ipwbook.com and see not only the people in it, everything you need to know, the link to buy it on Amazon. Later, I will expand it to more distribution. But for now, until the launch, my tip is I just stuck with Amazon.com. And in there is my next tip, provide juicy bonuses. So I had to think, how can I add value to the reader who wants to not only read the book, but maybe listen to it or know more about it? So what I did was I made videos summarizing the 3 parts of the book. And I have that as a book summary video bonus. That's bonus number 1. I then had the bright idea of using AI to record the book. There's no way I could have had time to actually sit and read the book. But thanks to Speech-Alert, I had a wonderful 2 voice, a woman and a man, reading the book. So some people might be out jogging or like me, just sitting and not wanting to read. They can listen to the book through that bonus. I can't sell it on ACX, but I could sell it at a later stage. And I think it's a great, juicy bonus. It's on a private podcast called Hello Audio. And I'm paying for that because I think it's much better to have than just have an MP3 on your laptop or on your hard drive, to actually be able to go to a podcast and binge listen to the whole book. My 4th bonus comes from my partner in the Write the Book Inside You program, which is 6 EFT tapping videos to help you clear the normal and the most frequent blocks that authors and writers have about writing their book. So there we have a tip, juicy bonuses. And what does it do? When people download them, you get their email addresses so you can continue to speak to them and email them. So talking of the email list, I used my short, small, but mighty email list to tell people about the book for quite a few months ahead, and the same with my podcast. So use what you have to get the word out there and ask for reviews as well. But when we come to the next tip on reviews, the very important tip I have here is start an advanced reader team at least a month before and nurture them. I learned this by myself, being part of an advanced reader team with Honoré Corday launching her book, Guess What? You Must Market Your Book. So that was serendipity. I not only could sit and watch how she did it, but I could apply it to my own book launch, and I did. One of the ways of doing that is to start a Facebook group which are dedicated to being advanced readers, a private Facebook group, and to encourage them, to give them a book funnel free copy of the book, and then encourage them on the week of the launch to buy the book for 99 cents, which you put it up on Amazon for, and post their reviews straight away on or as near to the launch date as you can. And it was a great success, thanks to those people and thanks to the way my next tip, which is Netgalley, I had 15 4 to 5-star reviews on launch day, and that made all the difference. Talking of Netgalley, let me read to you. Netgalley is an innovative and easy-to-use online service and connection point for book publishers, reviewers, media, librarians, booksellers, bloggers, and educators. Netgalley delivers digital galleys for free, often advanced copies, or ARCs as they're called, advanced reader copies, to professional readers and helps promote new and upcoming titles. And there's a wealth of rich professional readers, reviewers, media, journalists, bloggers, librarians, booksellers, educators. They can all join, get the books for free, and download and leave a review, hopefully. Now, not everyone did, but my first review was a weighty review from one of the Netgalley reviewers. And after a month or two is up, you then get the emails of the other people who downloaded but maybe haven't had time to review it, and you can follow up, which I intend to do. Now, I didn't do many Facebook Lives or YouTube Lives, as many people on a launch should and would do. So that wasn't for me. I didn't have time because I was busy doing all the other many moving parts of the launch. But one thing I did do, which was clever, VA Sunny, I asked her to take the summary videos I'd done of the book and chop them up into 1-minute reels, which we could post on my YouTube channel, where I got the most traction from it, but also on Instagram. Now to the 2 mistakes I almost made that would have sunk me. Perhaps because I had time on my side and I had to keep changing the launch date, by the way, a few times, I came up with the realization that my book title, which was originally going to be The Inner Game of Writing, like the summit I'd run, I realized that I could be in copyright or at least trademark trouble with Timothy Galloway, who has done a series of books called The Inner Game of Tennis, Golf, etc. Now, I thought in my innocence that you can't copyright a book title. But I did find through a series of serendipitous events that if you have a series of books, it's called a trademark. And Timothy Galloway, and I saw online, had already sued, not another author, but had already sued a company for using The Inner Game as part of their advertising campaign. I think it was Nike. And I didn't want anything like that happening to me. So I went back to the drawing board, asked my muse and divine inspiration to help me with the title and review. But now don't forget, I already had a cover. So I needed to just replace the word game, and I found the word path actually had the same meaning, if not more, to the book. And that's why it's called The Inner Path of Writing. I also changed the subtitle and made it, instead of wordy stuffed with keywords, I made it Make Love, Not War, to the writer within. And there's actually tip number 9, which is I stood up against a very well-known person called Stephen Pressfield, saying, this book does not agree that you have to fight your resistance like a warrior. This book says there's an easier, softer, and just as effective way. So that in itself is a marketing ploy, to stand up, to show you that you don't agree with what everyone else is saying, and that you have your own perspective, which the book actually does have. So those were the mistakes I almost made: a too wordy subtitle and a name that could have got me sued. Finally, I want to share with you what I did to stay sane and happy during a book launch. My book is about developing a healthy mindset. So the least I can do is drink my own Kool-Aid. Some people gasp at the fact that I get up at 4 or 5 in the morning, but I need that time. And I go to bed early. So that was my routine. I got up early, I did my meditation, made myself some black coffee, and then used that time to prepare myself for the day and to write and market my promotional material. Some people might have overdosed on alcohol and sugary foods, but I have a diet that watched my diet, avoiding sugar and flour products, which I don't think help at all when you want to stay focused. And during the time, I lost 44 pounds in the year during writing the book and marketing it because I was disciplined with my eating, my regular swimming in the afternoons. I didn't work all day on the book. I would work from 5 a.m., have a break for lunch, have a bit more of a break, and then go down to the beach to swim. Many of you have been watching my Cape Town videos by the beach, and that was how I spent my afternoon. So I try to balance, no matter how much longer it would take to write and market the book. I used my own health routine to be fitter and happier and healthier at the end of the launch than I was at the beginning. So there you have it. I hope you found those useful. I'm going to summarize the 9 points and the two mistakes I almost made. 1, don't fly solo. Get help, a VA, but also I used Books Go Social to help me. 2, make sure you have a professional looking cover and a good description. 3, get reviews. Make sure on launch day you have put together a plan, a ninja plan, and also a directed plan for your early reviews. Number 4, use your own social media channels, in my case, my podcast, to plant the seeds that this book is upcoming. Number 5 was the ninja launch, which is to get reviews up before anyone knows the book is for sale. Number 6 was have a good, easy to remember and say book page, and a professional page where people can read about the book, and the bonuses, which is my 7th point. Create juicy bonuses, one of which was the audiobook, which was digitally narrated. And the other bonus was a summary, chapter by chapter of the book, which became my 9th tip, which was I got my VA to cut those summaries into shorts, and that blew up my channel compared with how it was before, bringing lots of new viewers to my channel. So shorts is a good one to involve in a book launch. Whether you do it on TikTok or like me on YouTube, it's worth looking into. So remember, go to ipwbook.com and read all about it. Thanks for joining me on today's podcast. Want a free gift to inspire you further on your book writing adventure? My free checklist, 5 book hook tips to kickstart your book writing journey, will help you get clarity on the key essentials to make your book a winner. Download it at writethebookinsideyou.com/free gift. The links are in the show notes. Until next time, a big virtual hug and keep writing.